Acha ji, this was a question that we attempted yesterday. The things that we have done until now is know how to record the transactions in a particular ledger. So these transactions, they have been recorded, but now the question is, what would be the next step? These transactions, just recording them like this, they do not give a summarized picture of the position of the business as at this moment. So for example, if somebody asks me how much is the capital, or how much are their purchases, or how much do I owe to a particular person, it would be difficult to tell just from this position as it is right now. Agreed? Acha ji. So in order to give it a relatively summarized position, first we'll learn how to close the accounts, how to calculate the closing balances of different accounts. Acha ji. The way we will do it is we'll look at the debit side and we'll look at the credit side of a particular. So once we have noted all the entries in the T account, then we'll look for the debit and credit side and we'll see which side has got the bigger amount as its sum. So if I sum the values on the debit side and the sum of the values on the credit side, which sum would be bigger for the bank account? Am I sharing my screen with you right now? ठीक है जी. तो the debit side will be bigger. So I'll write down the sum of debit side over here, which turns out to be 18,250. And I'll write the same sum on the other side as well, 18,250. But the sum of credit side, it wasn't 18,250. So it means some amount is missing over here. If I write that amount over here, the sum would become 18,250. So what would that amount be? It would be 18,250. It would mean the credit side is bigger. नहीं ठीक है ठीक है ठीक 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 अच्छा जी. So the debit side, the sum, because that was 18,250, and on this side I've got just 620 and 1373 1000, so maximum it would go up to 2000, something like that. It doesn't cross 2000, right? So the sum on the debit side is bigger anyhow. So the amount that's missing over here, which if I add to the credit side, its sum also becomes 18,250. I can calculate it: 18,250 minus 1373 minus 620. Okay, so that would be 16,257. 16,257. Madam, this is called the carried down balance. Okay, or this is the closing balance of any particular T account. Right now, since we are dealing with just assets, liabilities and capital, we can say that this is the closing balance, and one period's carried down, it will be next period's brought down. One period's closing balance, it would be opening balance for next period. Simple. ठीक है जी. This way we will do it for all the T accounts. So now if I see for capital, there's nothing on the debit side, so the sum of credit side, obviously it's bigger. This would turn out to be 18,000. I'll do the same over here as well. This would also turn out to be 18,000. And then the carried down over here, it would be 18,000, right? And this period's credit down would be next period's brought down 18,000. Achha, let me know when you have closed these two accounts and then we'll move to the next one. Let's move to the next account. Acha. There are a few accounts that we have seen as of this stage. The five heads of account we discussed. There is assets, there is liabilities, there is capital or equity, there are revenues, and there are expenses. Asset, capital, and liabilities. These three are balance sheet items. These are statement for financial position items, and the revenues and expenses. These are income statement items. Okay. So for revenues and expenses, we'll do the same thing, The only difference is procedurally this would be the same. So for example, let's do it for expenses. If you take the sum of purchases over here, what's the sum? 2297, 2297. The same sum I'd have on this side as well, 297. The only difference is I won't write it as carried down. Instead, I'll write to profit or loss, and I'll write this 2297. And the amount that gets taken to the profit loss, there is no brought down for it as well. So for incomes and expenses, there wouldn't be a brought down and there wouldn't be a carried down. Instead, the amount, this balancing amount over here, it would get charged to the PL. Okay. Acha ji, let's do it for all of the accounts. Let's do it now for sales. What's the sum that we are getting for sales? Yes, madam. How much? 1452. Was it 210 or 270? The first one. It was 210, right? 210 plus 483 plus 305 plus 394. I'm getting 1392. ठीक है जी. I think it was 210 because here in the cash account as well it's 210. So cross check sales, it's 210. Acha. Behind or behind 1373 plus 82, I think 1455. So for this, the sum of debit and credit side, it would be the same, 1455 and 1455. So there would be no carried down or brought down. Okay. Acha ji, for purchase return, it becomes 129. This side, it would also have 129, and it would be to profit loss. How much? 129. Acha ji, for peace time, it would be 483 over here. The same 483 on the other side too. That means carried down would be 483 minus 160. It would be 323. G Smart, credit side sum is bigger. So this would be 472 plus 370, 842. The same sum over here as well, 842. Carried down would be 842 minus 47 would be 795, and the same carried down would be brought down 795. Agreed? Hmm. So let's look at the logic of this carry down as well. See, for the asset of bank, we initially put the 18,000 in the bank and then it increased by 250. So in total in bank the amount that flowed in was 18,250, and this much it got extracted out of the bank account, 620 and 1373. So the remaining should be our bank balance. Agreed? So this shows the closing balance of asset that I've got on my books. This is the closing amount of assets. Similarly for liabilities, let's say for G Smart, I bought goods from him for 472 and 370, and then I returned goods for 47. So I still owe him money. How much? 795. Okay. This person P Sime, he is an asset. It initially increased by 483, and then I returned him some goods worth 160. So he still owes me 323. So for assets, capital, and liabilities, this is showing me the closing balance of these particular accounts. How much do I still owe? How much I have still got in the asset form? How much money have I invested in the business? For sales, purchases, purchase returns, it shows the total amount of sales, the total amounts of purchases, the total amount of purchase return and sales return we'll soon see. Okay, so this is what T account shows and what it means, this closing balance carried down. Acha ji, let's do it for cash now. It would be 210 plus 305. Here is cash, here is cash. Acha, 210, 305, 1523, 515. Did I do it right? 515. 265. This will be carried down of cash. This will be brought down of cash. How much? 265. Sure, for printer, it is easy. 620. 620. Carried down 620. And brought down 620. So carry down is calculated at the end of the period. So right now, since we did transactions of just 1 month, this carry down would be on 31st May and the brought down would be on 1st of June. I'm not writing dates for these right now. If I were closing this T account for the whole year, and let's say my year ends at 31st December, this carry down would be on 31st December and brought down would be on 1 Jan. Okay. Acha ji, machinery I got for 419. This would be the carry down 419. Oh, 419. So brought down to 419. This person sold me machinery 419. Carried down would be 419. Brought down on credit side would be 419. Achha ji, what remains? H. Bachchan. Purchase return I have closed, sales return and H. Bachchan, just two. Let's see. Achha ji, H. Bachchan, how much? Debit side is 394. 394. Credit side I write the same sum. Difference is carried down. 394 minus 18. 376. 178. 178. To profit loss 178. Acha ji, I'm really bad at maths. You'll do all the sums independently and you'll let me know if I've made an error somewhere in adding certain figures. You would not be relying on my figures. Okay, ji. And let me know once you have got carried down for all the T accounts, and if they match, then we'll proceed to the next step. Achha ji, the next step is now we have to prepare what we call a trial balance. A trial balance is basically a check that we have done all the accounting right or not. So we'll simply give the heading over here. Let me say trial balance. Trial balance. Achha ji, on what date am I drawing it? As at 31 May. Whatever year. Take a G. And then what I'll do is I'll write down the list of all the T accounts that I had. So just leave a couple of lines below this heading And in fact over here I'll have two columns on the towards the right hand side, debit and credit, and these debit and credit they would be in dollars. ठीक है जी. And a line below it I would start listing all the T accounts that I had. So for example, bank, capital, sales, purchases, after purchases, behind, whatever, purchase return. Then I have cash, G Smart. Have you watched the movie Get Smart? Peace sign. Get Smart. There's a movie titled Get Smart. H. Bachchan. And sales return. Sales return. There is printer, machinery, and ACOB. Printer, machinery, and a cob. Let me know when you're done with listing all these accounts. Okay, ji. The next step is that we'll note the balances for all these accounts. Acha ji. How will we note the balances? For bank, the closing balance, the carried down is on the credit side. So it will appear in the on the debit side of trial balance. So carried, the sort of the way to understand it is that I carried down to trial balance. So T account credit and trial balance debit. Okay, that could be one way to think about this logic. But anyhow, this bank it would appear on the debit side. How much? 16,257. ठीक है जी. For capital, the carried down was on debit side, so it will appear on credit side over here. How much? 18,000. ठीक है जी. After capital, what do I have? Sales. Instead of carried down, I've got 2PL. 2PL also is on the debit side, so this amount it will appear on the credit side in trial balance 1392. So जी, after sales, I've got purchases. Over there, it's on the credit side, so here it will appear on the debit side, 2297. Then behind, it got balanced, so I'll write just a dash over here on the credit side. Purchase return, it was on the debit over there, here it would be credit, 129. ठीक है जी. Any confusion in this, or as in how we are writing these figures? Achha, it's your choice. Personally, I find it easier to first list them all down and then note down the debit and credit. If you yourself find it more convenient to write down bank and then its balance and then capital and then its balance and that way list down all the accounts, that's your choice. There obviously isn't a hard and fast rule as in what sequence you should follow over here. It's just a matter of preference. Achha ji, after purchase return, I've got cash. Cash, how much is the carried down? 265. 265. Just be sure to write the amount in the right column as in debit and credit and in front of the right account. ठीक है जी. Then for G Smart I have carried down over there. So it would appear on the credit side how much? 795. 795. P sign it would appear on the debit side 323. Then I have what? H Butchen again debit side 376. Acha ji. Then I've got sales return. This would also be on the debit side 178. Acha ji. Then I've got printer and machinery both on debit side 620 and 419. And lastly ACOB on the credit side 419. Acha ji. Now drum roll. We'll have to do the sum of both the sides and the sum should come out equal. If it doesn't, means we have made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. Credit side 18,000 plus 1392 plus 129 plus 795 plus 419. 20,735. 2735. Of would it match 16257 plus 2297 plus 265 plus 323 plus 376 plus 178 plus 620 plus 20735. Chalo ji, great success. Done. Excellent. So this is the step after. So if we take a quick recap of what we have learned for accounting till now, initially there is an event, and the event it should have a financial impact, and if it does, we record it in the financial we record it in the form of double entry in the T accounts. So once we have done all the recording of the T accounts, we cannot close any single T account until we have done accounting for all of the T accounts. So that happens at the end of the period. Once we have done all the accounting, we then calculate the carried down balances and to profit loss balances. And then accordingly, we put them in the trial balance. We have to match the debit and credit side of the trial balance. Once it matches, then we can move on to the next step of preparing the financial statements. ठीक है जी. Now let's use this, or shall we use a separate. Acha, in this one they haven't given us the closing inventory, the purchases. Acha, let's not use this one. For the financial statement practice, I'll give you slightly different questions and we'll practice on those. Acha, for trial balance, let's see the other questions that you have done, and let's prepare the trial balances for those as well, and let's see if they balance or not. Okay, so the questions that you have done for homework yesterday, if you could attempt trial balance for just one of them right now, and the remaining perhaps you can attempt as homework. Okay.